1 p.m. and do a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that Nakusp area have a rich Indigenous history and respect the Indigenous peoples within whose traditional lands we are meeting today. Introduction of late items.
There are no late items.
Good. Agenda approval recommendations. The agenda of the March 9th, 2026 regular meeting be adopted as presented amended. Can I have a motion, please? Councilor McLaren, seconded. Councilor Edwards. Any questions on this meeting? All in favor? Correct. B1, recommendations that the minutes of the February 23rd, 2026 regular meeting be adopted as presented amended. Councilor Edwards, seconded. Councilor Fenoysen. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. So this evening we have 2 presentations. Is there somebody online for the radon? Yes, thank you. C1, recommendations of the delegation provided by Take Action Radon be received for information. Can I have a motion, please? Councilor Fenoysen, seconded. Councilor McLaren-Poe, and are they on?
Yep.
Okay, you're on.
Great. Thanks so much for the opportunity to share this. My name is Pam Workington and I'm with Take Action on Radon, and we worked with the village of Nakusp over the past winter to do a radon survey.
No, we're just trying something here.
Can you hear me? I'll just keep talking for a little bit to see until the volume comes up. Can you hear me yet?
Thank you. I hear you again.
Okay. Okay, great. So we worked with the village of Nakusp over the winter of 24-25 to do a radon survey in the community. And today I'd like to present the results of it. Take Action on Radon is a national initiative that is funded by Health Canada with the goal to raise awareness on radon, and to do it by working with organizations and communities like yourself. And so the 100 Test Kit Challenge is a specific initiative under the Take Action program where we work with communities and provide 100 free radon kits free of charge to distribute to their citizens. It's a turnkey program. We provide all the tools and resources for each step of the process, and there's no cost to the community for the first year. But it does require staff time and support from within the community. So we certainly thank Cody and Wayne and the community for participating with us in the program. We have 4 goals of the program: 1, to distribute the test kits; 2, to raise local awareness. And as we roll out the results of that, we like to also continue to do that in the community. Another goal is to generate data, and that's part of my presentation today, is data that we've gathered from that program. And then to inspire legacy. So I have a couple slides at the end of just things that the community may want to consider, and just resources by Health Canada for future radon awareness initiatives. So Take Action on Radon has worked with over 160 communities coast to coast in all provinces and 1 territories, and we've been able to distribute over 30,000 detectors with a 74% return rate. I always like to share that because you'll see what your community return rate is. But in general, not everybody finishes the entire process, but we provide them support to try and help them through all the steps. And then another survey that we've done in the past has found that when people have tested above 200, which is Health Canada's guideline, over 30% of them have taken action to reduce it. And so I've got a list of communities in case you're curious of who we've worked with through the years. And so you can go through these in the slides that I've provided to you. But you can see that in BC, we've been able to work with a number of communities, partly due to the fact that we get additional support in the past through BC Lung, and then this year with the BC CDC. So we're grateful for that support. Now, radon is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. It is also a contributing factor to anybody who has a smoking history. So even somebody that may have smoked in their youth but have stopped, exposure to elevated radon can also increase your risk of lung cancer. Now, Health Canada estimates that over 3,000 Canadians per year are dying of this radon, of this lung cancer risk, specifically of radon-related lung cancer. Now, radon comes from the soil. It comes from uranium. Uranium is a solid, and it's in our soil all across our country. But uranium eventually breaks down. And when it becomes radon, radon is a gas, so it moves up out of the soil. It's in the air around us at low levels. But the concern is that it can enter our buildings and build up to elevated levels. So it can enter any building that has contact with the ground, regardless of whether there's a basement. But typically we talk about testing in the basement because that's where the source is. And then higher levels tend to be found in the basement and main floor, but high levels can be found all throughout the building. So generally, Health Canada's recommendation is that all buildings should be tested for 3 months during the heating season, so during the winter, and that any building found with levels above 200 becquerels be reduced. Now, in the village of Nakusp, we were able to distribute 42 detectors. There may be a few people that still have their detectors, so we found that about 41% started their test, and eventually we were able to get 34 reports issued. So there may be a few people that are missing the report. We might be trying to chase them down for some information in order to get their report. So we always like to let people know if they haven't received their report yet by email to reach out to us. We certainly want to make sure that they do get it. The report generally looks like this, and then we provide a one-pager interpretation as well. And then there may be a few people that started it and forgot that they have the detector. So they can also reach out to us and let us know, and we'll help them with getting that report back to us, or the detector back to us, and help them get the report. And then there may be a couple that did pick up detectors but didn't start it. And again, they can reach out and we can give them instructions on that process. So we do like to support people throughout the process, but we were able to have 34 homes complete the full testing period. And of that 34 tests, 12% were above 200, which is the Health Canada's guideline. And so you can see the breakdown here that we've shown. Almost 53% of the homes were under 100 becquerels. 35% were between 1 and 200 becquerels, and then almost 12% were above 200. Now we do break it down if we do have elevated over the 6 or the 1,000, but all the 12 were between that 200 and 600 level. And with radon, this is important because as the radon level increases, a person's exposure increases and risk increases. So this denotes, just to help you understand what the potential risk of people in the community are. Now, along with doing the radon survey, we ask additional information, and it's an optional survey that people can complete. So it gives us a little bit of information about what type of homes and some general information about the participants in the project. Now, most of the people that participated in the project were single-dwelling homes, although we did have a semi-detached, but this probably reflects much of the building stock in the community. And we also did have all that participated were owners. Now, we don't stop any renters from participating if they want to. But we do like to note for a community that if there are people who are renting and test high, this is often a barrier for people with communicating with their landlord. So there were no participating in this project, but it certainly is something to let you know about. If there are renters, we do have resources for them on our website to help them with communicating with landlords. Now, you can see that only one person had tested previously. And so this is another one of our goals, is to be able to get people who hadn't tested before radon tests. So that was, you can see that we achieved that. And then you can also see that the majority of homes that were tested didn't have any types of radon control measures or mitigation systems. But we did have a couple that had the rough-in, the passive stack, which is currently in the local building code. And so you can see from that that there's, even with a passive stack, houses can still be elevated. And so it's important for all homes, whether they've got that passive installed already, to test, and then they can determine if they need to add the fan to further reduce the radon levels. Now, another thing we ask is about the age of construction. And so you can see here that the top bar represents homes we either didn't know or the occupant didn't provide us with the age of construction. But then we went across different age groups. And typically what we find in the community is that there can be high levels across all age of construction. So we represent that here with green is the radon tests that were below 200 and red were the radon tests above 200. And now there's just a small selection of the high levels here. But generally, when we go into a community, we can see that there's high levels, at all levels. And so we do recommend that regardless of the age of the house, all houses should be tested. And so this is all kind of data to answer some typical questions that we get, but this is the public survey now that we'll be sharing out on our website. And so it represents the number of homes that completed the testing, the 12% that were above the 200. And then there's also some general information on the report so that it answers, questions if people don't know about radon, about where to get a kit, how to reduce it, and at what level to reduce, so that they're just general questions about radon. Now, this also shows you how you compare with some of the other communities across BC. So Nakusp at 12% is actually about the provincial average that we've seen from historical data across the province, but we certainly are seeing communities with significantly higher levels in the province of BC. And then also just to let you know that BC, it does have a pilot program for screening. So anybody who does test their home for radon and have levels above 800 can actually get a lung health check with BC Cancer at either the Kelowna or the Vancouver site. So, it's important information if somebody's concerned about their health after testing. The guideline is 800, but if somebody's, just below that and want to get checked, they can certainly reach out to the study organizers, and they have allowed people even at lower levels to participate. And then there's just some general information to answer some typical questions that we get. So if somebody does need to reduce their radon level, this can be achieved easily by a radon mitigation system. And we do have certified professionals across the country to help. CNRPP is the website, and you can go and find a list of professionals by service area or postal code or province. And then there's also a national mitigation grant. So Canadian Lung Association has a grant that it is income-based. People can go and check out the information on their website, see if they qualify. They do need to apply before getting work done. And then there also is a document that highlights survivor stories of people who have lung cancer. And so Dr. Koo is certainly an individual from the BC area who has shared his story. And so you can go and check out some of the stories as well there. And then I mentioned that Health Canada has has documents for legacy programs. So if you're interested in doing more for radon in your community, you can check out the radon action guides that were developed by Health Canada for municipalities. And it has some basic information such as, having education sessions in the fall, enforcing building codes, providing education for builders, and there are various other things that you can consider. So I've put some checklists here just to help you with those documents. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. Any questions from the public? Not for the public. On the council. Huh? I got a question. So newer homes, they're well protected. Older homes, you're renting and you find out it has radon. Is the landlord liable?
So that's a very good question. BC Lung actually has developed some support documents for that. And ultimately, it is the landlord's responsibility to provide a safe space. And the province of BC has recognized that radon is a health hazard. So although there is no case law at this point, it does point that the duty of care would be to the landlord to provide a safe space with a low radon level for their occupants.
Thank you. And did you say there's extra kits available in the Nakusp?
Not anymore. No, we do a time-limited program, and so they're not all 100 had been taken up by the time of the program, but they've been sent back to us, I believe, so they aren't available. But we certainly can look at repeating it if you're interested in repeating it in the fall. Typically, the first year is free, and then we do work with communities to provide it again at our cost. So our cost is about $30 per kit, or we can always reach out to see if we can get some additional funding from BC Lung or the BC CDC.
Good. Any other questions? David? Carrie? Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much for the time.
Okay, C2, recommendation that the delegation provided by Alpenglow Mountain Escapes be received for information. Motion to bring that one forward, Councillor McLaren, seconded Councillor Edwards. And I believe, Carla, you're speaking?
Where would you like me to be?
Right up front.
Oh, right up, okay.
All right, there's a chair right here.
Oh, a chair would be nice.
Okay, I know you have a
We still.
leg injury.
All right, well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for this opportunity to present this evening. So my name is Carla Kovarik, and I am the founder of Alpenglow Mountain Escapes. I'm here to share how my business supports the village's tourism and economic development goals while operating responsibly on municipal land. I would also wish to acknowledge that the guided hikes take place on unceded traditional territory. I honor the enduring connection of Indigenous peoples to this land, and I am committed to treading lightly with care and deep respect. Alpenglow Mountain Escapes is a licensed, locally owned company offering small group outdoor and nature wellness experiences. My programs include guided hiking from beginner to advanced hikers, wildlife viewing and ecology tours, and Shinrin-yoku, also known as forest bathing. So Shinrin-yoku originated in Japan and was officially introduced in 1982 as a wellness practice. It was developed because Japan was facing rising urban stress, tech-heavy lifestyles, increasing diseases as a response to rising stress, mental health challenges, and health impacts of highly urban indoor lifestyles, and also a noticeable disconnection from nature. The government leaders recognize the need for a proactive approach to community well-being, one that helps people stay healthy, not just treat illness. The vision was to invite people to spend meaningful, mindful time in forests, support stress reduction and emotional balance, nurture mental wellness, strengthen immune resilience, recognize forest as an essential national wellness resource. This approach came to be known as natural medicine through immersive forest experiences. So what is Shinrin-yoku? Shinrin-yoku is a slow guided forest immersion practice offering participants invitations using all of our 5 senses to interact with the forest in a meaningful and healing way. These invitations guide participants into a deep mindfulness, helping to reduce stress and improve mental clarity. Each session is about 2 to 3 hours in duration, and we will walk no more than 1 to 2 kilometers. The session is completed by a tea ritual in the forest, which creates a deliberate moment of stillness. After slow immersion in the forest, tea invites participants to stop, breathe, and fully arrive in the present moment. This program is designed not only for visitors and the public, but also holds meaningful potential for frontline workers, emergency personnel, caregivers, and others in high-stress roles who benefit deeply from restorative nature-based wellness. When paired with the natural hot springs, the benefits complete one another. Forest immersion supports mental restoration, while mineral hot springs promote physical relaxation and recovery. Together, they create a balanced nature wellness experience that encourages everyone to spend more time in the community. My wellness programming builds on this by designing restorative travel itineraries that attract wellness-focused visitors, support those in high-stress professions, and strengthen Nakusp reputation as a premier wellness destination. This will maximize the Nakusp Hot Springs experience. Each program is professionally guided, intentionally low impact, and grounded in respect for the natural environment. The Village of Nakusp has identified nature, recreation, and wellness assets as key drivers of sustainable economic development. My business is intentionally designed to support these values. Nakusp's mountains, forests, trails, lakes, and hot springs are core attractions to locals and visitors from around the world. My services will help visitors engage more deeply and responsibly with these natural assets that we have in this beautiful valley. The Village of Nakusp vision promotes economic growth and balance with environmental stewardship. Alpenglow Mountainscapes aligns with this vision by offering a low-impact, sustainability-focused model. Small group sizes, 2 to 8 participants, minimal infrastructure needs, leave no trace practices, and education-based experiences. This supports tourism growth without adding environmental strain. Through proactive destination development, Alpenglow Mountainscapes is collaborating with the Nakusp District Chamber of Commerce, Arrow Lakes Tourism Association, Kootenay Rockies Tourism, Destination BC, where their goal is now moving from volume to value. I have recently partnered up with Little Travel Group based in the Netherlands, which has a strong European clientele that are focusing on selling tours in the West Kootenays. Working with these association and partners will help strengthen coordinated regional tourism efforts. Over time, this will support stronger shoulder seasons. Health and wellness tourism performs well in the spring and fall and helps stabilize visitation beyond peak summer months. By dispersing visitors into the surrounding forests and utilizing the hot springs during non-peak hours, we alleviate the summer crunch on Nakusp's infrastructure. This creates a sustainable flow of revenue that supports local jobs year-round without overwhelming community resources. Wellness-motivated travelers are less weather-dependent than traditional summer recreationalists. Forest bathing and hot springs are naturally enhanced by the misty, cool atmospheres of May and June and September, October, effectively lengthening the profitable tourism year. Furthermore, these months offer peak opportunities for wildlife viewing and ecology tours, attracting high-value demographics such as avid photographers and international travelers. Nakusp will attract visitors who appreciate authentic experiences and a deeper connection with the community and landscape. This high-value tourism model is built for long-term community benefit and helps keep tourism revenue within the local economy. What is equally important is my responsibility to use the village land. I am seeking council's guidance and approval regarding appropriate permits and license of occupation for guiding outdoor and wellness programming on village property, and best practices for operating near the hot springs corridor. My intention is to operate transparently, respectfully, and in full alignment with municipal and provincial frameworks. And I'm very excited about this opportunity to contribute to Nakusp's future in a way that is thoughtful, sustainable, and community focused. And thank you for your time and your guidance. And if you have any questions.
Thanks, Carol.
No.
Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. I don't have a question. I just want to say that sounds incredible.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think this would really benefit
Mhm.
the Nakusp
Brilliant.
region for sure.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that here.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor? Carried. You're welcome to stay if you want. They did the presentation, or you can leave. Good. Good. Unfinished business. F1. Recommendation that council resolve to have a letter of consent for RDCK bylaw number 3036 signed by the municipal director and the CAO on behalf of the village of Nakusp and to forward it to the RDCK. A motion to bring that forward. Councilor Claire Poe, seconded Councilor Edwards. Questions? None? All in favor? Carried. Okay. F2 offers to purchase the old Carlisle and Kinship building. So there was two separate motions. So With me. I will bring a motion forward and, so I can get a seconder, we can bring it into the meeting and discuss it. And if all in favor is, and if we have to amend it or defeat it, we'll go from there. Fine with council? Okay. Okay, start with the kinship. But the kinship, okay, let me bear with me here. Oh, the kinship building located at 611 Broadway Street. They picked option 4, that council declined the purchase offer from the Kinship Connection Society for the property located at 611 Broadway Street. And the village retained ownership of the kinship building and proceed with a transparent public call for proposals for occupancy and in accordance with the village non-market leasing policy with lease terms not exceeding 5 years, ensuring proposals demonstrate community benefit and contribute to municipal building reserves. And that staff initiate the competitive process at the end of 2026 in preparation for the Kootenai Kinsman Connection Society and lease expiration in February 2027. Now a motion to bring that forward.
Just for clarity, Mr. Mayor, can we see that written down? Because I just want to make sure we've got the whole thing. Is that possible?
I can read it slower if you want. I don't have it written down.
Well, I'll second it, yeah, for discussion, but could we get it written down,
Oh, yeah, yes.
please?
Jeff can send that to, do you want me to read it slower?
Do you have it written?
If I may, I was just I think I heard the word ownership in there. And I thought, that's just, maybe it's semantic, but it's occupying and operating is different than ownership, or maybe it doesn't matter.
The village. Can you text the image to us? So
Yeah, I can do that.
we can read the stuff.
Thank you, that's very good.
I can read it again slowly.
Sure, please.
Option 4, and that the village retain ownership of the kinship building and proceed with a transparent public call for proposals for occupancy in accordance with the village's non-market leasing policy with lease terms not exceeding 5 years, ensuring proposals demonstrate community benefit and contribute to municipal building reserves. And that staff initiate the competitive process at the end of 2026 in preparation for the Kinship Connection Society lease expiration in February 2027.
If I can speak to that, I like the intent of the motion. I'm just curious about putting all that extra language in there, if that's already captured in policy. Maybe through to staff.
Well, it's,
I mean, I have no problem with the language. I'm just, if it's already in policy,
it is already in policy.
Questions? Councilor Edwards?
I don't have a problem with that. So I just want to be clear that at the end of the lease, then it would be proposed for people to bid on the rent, and it would, I believe I heard in there that it would, like, we'd be able to put money into the reserves then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'd be open up to other, so right now there may be other people leaving the kinship, so it gives an opportunity, a proposal for other opportunities to come into the kinship. Could be, could even be a private partner. Any other questions? All in favor? Carry. We do this one too, just share that.
I'm just gonna, you know, I'm just gonna-
Okay. Old Fire Hall, that the old Fire Hall building located at 95th Avenue Northwest. Motion for option 4 again. And that the village retain ownership of the old Fire Hall building and proceed with a transparent public call for proposals for occupancy in accordance with the village's non-market leasing policy, with lease terms not exceeding 5 years, ensuring proposals demonstrate community benefits and contribute to municipal building reserves.
I'll second
Okay. Questions?
it. Mr. Mayor. Through to staff, I would ask, what is the timeline for such a process? I guess I have two questions. What is the timeline for such a process, and what happens if the applications that we receive, none of them are we're not amenable to any of the applications we receive?
So that basically would be up to council's decision. So council would have to set the criteria of what they would accept and what they would not accept. Length of time, you know, generally speaking, you know, I don't think you'd want to do less than 2 months, you know, for that kind of process. But that also would be for council to determine what the length of time would be.
That was supplemental. When would we make that determination? Through the mayor?
So can I get some clarity on that?
Through the mayor, I would say, like, what I'm hearing is we would set, there's no policy or bylaw restriction as to what the evaluation matrices are.
Oh, okay.
And therefore, we would set that up at some point and then set, so when does that process begin, I think is my question.
Okay. As soon as council wants it to begin, my thought is we could probably start it fairly quickly. Obviously, this is a, you know, an important topic for the public. I just want to say, like, we do have the non-market lease of civic land and building policy. So in that, there is some criteria there that states what, you know, what would qualify for non-market lease, what wouldn't. You could probably use the same criteria that you use for the permissive tax exemptions as well. It's a very similar sort of idea. And yeah, we would probably, we could start working on it right away if that's council's wish.
Okay, thanks.
And yeah, Councillor Edwards.
Mr. Mayor, what were your thoughts on the timeline?
It did say, I read that early 2026, didn't it? It does say council hold a competitive process in the first half of 2026.
Yeah, can I ask another? Through the mayor. So do we determine tonight when the date would be to have applications in?
Council could.
Read that, Council. Council McLaren.
If I may, if staff can come back to the next council meeting with some more information, so the 23rd of March, I think then we could, once we read a report on, a staff report on it, then I think it's reasonable to set a timeline at that point.
Councillor Knizen.
I suppose it's difficult to ask to put a timeline on something we haven't even put guidelines on yet, so I think it would be probably a good idea to wait until we have a staff report.
Okay, Councillor.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor McLaren.
Can I just say, I appreciate you bringing that motion forward, Mr. Mayor. So thanks for just being nice and clean about it. I really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Yeah. What? G, monthly reports. Is that the right one? Yeah. Recommendations for monthly council reports. We received information. Have a motion to bring them forward. Councillor Edwards, seconded. Councillor McLaren Cole. We'll start with Councillor Huff. Councillor Knizen.
I don't have a written report, but since the last council reports, as council representative only, not a non-voting member, I attended the UAHS Housing Society meeting, council meeting, Chamber of Commerce committee meeting, 2 AKBLG, which is Association of Kootenai and Boundary Local Governments committee meetings, and the RDCK budget meeting.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Knizen? Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I'm in tax season, I did a couple things, but I didn't even write them down.
Councillor McLaren Cole.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I do have a fair bit here, so I'll try to be fairly quick about it. I got to sit in on some interesting meetings, including one with Imagine Kootenai, which we have some experience with in the past. They have kind of gone through a reimagining of themselves, so they were curious about if they were to approach us again and ask for support, how that would, if that would even be possible. I got to sit in on a call with Wildsight and Minister of State, or MLA Henderson, with Wildsight about watershed security, which was really interesting. If anybody has any interest in watershed security and water rates and how we charge industrial producers, I highly recommend clicking on those links and going down that rabbit hole because it is interesting. And I also attended a couple pretty dry webinars on Wildfire Act policy and engagement. I have no notes for those because they were very, very dry. Probably mostly a staff thing, but I tuned in anyway. With AKBLG, we have our upcoming convention, as Councillor Knizen mentioned, so lots of prep for that. Some other meetings I had in the week since I wrote this report, so those will come in next month. And it was a busy month with UBCM. We had an executive meeting in Richmond 2 weeks ago, so I was on the coast for a few days, which was really good. It's a good group of people, so happy to spend a few days with them. And I'm on the Environment Committee. I was assigned to the Environment Committee and the Community Economic Development Committee, which were very interesting. It may not be common knowledge, but the meetings are closed, so I can't really talk about what happens in the meetings, but they do release talking points, so I put what was officially allowable to speak in my report. If anybody has questions on those. And prior to that prior to those meetings, I arranged a call for all the small communities in the province, so any community under 2,500, and we had about 35 or 40 people there, which was better than I was expecting. And we were just an hour, and it was kind of organic because there was no real agenda or staff support. It was just me putting it on. But it was very interesting to hear what is going on in other people's worlds. Of course, since a couple weeks before the call, there was the horrific events in Tumbler Ridge, so we had a bit of a moment about that, and youth mental health came up. Anyway, I won't get into details, but it's all there if anybody wants to talk about it. And then all the meetings with the executive. Some of the notes I think from the UBCM meetings are worth talking about. One comes up later in our information items, and that's the assessment, the BC assessment policy change on pipeline valuation. And I believe it's the city of Abbotsford has a letter looking for support. So we had a presentation from BC Assessment expressing our strong disappointment in the fact that they just went ahead and changed the valuation without conducting local government engagement. So they're well aware of our displeasure there. We met with Ministers Boyle and Minister of State Anderson. Minister Boyle is Housing and Municipal Affairs. We also expressed our dismay at the kind of abrupt cutting of a lot of funding for the Community Housing Fund. It seems like there's a lot of affordable housing projects in the province that are just kind of stalled because they were expecting money and now they have a giant gap in their budget. So anyway, lots of stuff to go through there, and we'll go through it all. Several meetings in Nelson with RDCK last month. We had a couple workshops. One was on co-management with First Nation, which was very interesting, particularly in light of the Heritage Conservation Act update and the Cowichan Tribes decision from the BC Supreme Court. We also did a super fun workshop on subdivision bylaws. So that was, I mean, it was right up there with Fire Safety Act bylaws. But yeah, there's details there if people want to get into it. We're wrapping up budgets at Regional District, which includes some planned upgrades to the Ulashinda Transfer Station, which is kind of the main West Resource Recovery landfill. So open to questions there. And then the board meeting, lots to talk about there. I think the two of the board meeting that I've distilled to these highlights, I will distill further. The draft financial plan was presented, so that'll be up for approval next week at the board meeting. And the chair is away, so I get to run the budget meeting, which will be super fun. There is a new program out of the city of Nelson, which has an MOU with the regional district now, called the Home Save Program. It's similar to the REAP program, which is the Regional Energy Efficiency Program. So it's an energy retrofit type program, which is, I think the elevator pitch is that it's more of a concierging for other efficiency grants, and it kind of tops things up. Like, it's not a major amount of money, but it will help you find things and add small grant amounts to energy efficiency upgrades or retrofits to homes. And then the last thing was it has the potential to be one of the biggest decisions I think that the Regional District Board has made in a while. And we received a phase 1 report on an organizational review. So that was fairly high level because it's phase 1, but it's top down about how the organization can be better run, can be more efficient. It has 350 odd employees, and it is $45–50 million budget. So there's a lot going on there, and it seems to be growing every year. And if you believe the feedback that we get from some members of the public, it is becoming unmanageable. So I think there are some potential efficiencies to be found within that organizational assessment. So anyway, that was the board meeting. A couple regional district appointments. We had a good Kootenai Food Council meeting and a few Columbia River Treaty meetings. So anyway, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Councillor McLaren-Cole? My report. So February 19th, I attended I sort of sat on the BC Rural Health Network Implementation Committee meeting. There was presentation, Care for All, Health Center Hub. So a lot of communities are trying to figure out, due to the rural areas we live in, discussing the unique program and services with attention to how they can be replicated, demonstrating the CHC has an answer to rural healthcare needs. So a community health center hub. So actually, we already have an implementation little hub already with our what would you call that? With the integrated health. So it's a good start there. There's some great opportunities to expand that more. I can go into more detail later on it, some ideas that I have. February 17th, NAC4 meeting, the 2026 BC Community Forest Association Conference will be in Vernon. And it's nice to go there. It's not very far away. We should be very proud of our NAC4 for what they've done and just amazing what they do for our community. So I want to thank them. They also asked if through staff for a report showing how legacy funds have been spent by the village and RDCK. And I'm not sure to the staff, did that ever come forward?
The NACFAR?
Yes.
Yeah, we give it to them every year.
We get it every year? All from way back. I guess they're going back in history. They wanted all of it. They want to put it
Oh,
into.
sorry, who asked?
What's that?
Who asked?
NAC4 staff.
Yeah, we provide them that every year.
I guess they were asking for even to go back further from it. Probably when did they start? When did we give the first dividends or give us the first dividends? I can't remember.
Around 2014.
14. So they're sort of looking like that, looking what we've done with our dividends. And so they can put it in their bulletin, their NACTOR website. Does that make sense? Yes.
Okay, yeah, no, thanks for that. Yeah, they just asked for the projects each year, so they haven't asked for our entire history.
Okay. Anyway, if you find time, that's what they're asking. So we can probably find that out, just looking back and to see what we did with our dividends and what we funded for community events, for communities, for inside our community. At this time, there's no harvesting operations planned until further in the spring. They are doing some wildfire mitigation, exploring to get more of that done. February 20th, CBT meeting with Will Nixon. Subject the Nakusp Volunteer Road Rescue Brigade. We did ask them if there was any opportunities for CBT to help that, and they said that is a provincial mandate, and they won't go there. So we have to keep pursuing that, looking for opportunities to support our volunteer road rescue. February 26th, attended the Nakusp Advanced Care Paramedic Training for the newly purchased Life Pack 15. When I came into the room, they were all spread out in this room practicing the Life Pack 15, which is a great opportunity, great addition to our paramedics. And I hear nothing but great feedback from the paramedics that they've already used it once and have saved their life. So that's great. March 2nd, attended the GAP meeting with the members of the community. So actually my first GAP meeting in quite a while. It's amazing what that GAP meeting and the people around that board or the groups does. I was blown away what they contribute to our community. Today, Councilor Cole was on the Zoom meeting too with the virtual Selkirk College meeting. I had to step out and back and forth, but I did reach out to Marilyn Rivers, and she said, share this with council. It was recorded. There's a pilot program, the 24-week live program upcoming, and I'll get more details on it later to council. I said, is it going to help our Selkirk College? And she said, probably not. So anyway, I'll keep you informed where that's going. Also, February 24th, 25th, most of council attended the Recreation Master Plan consultation. So I did send out a long drawn out, you don't have to read it all. I don't know how far you got it. It's quite long. Mainly it was, let's go to that. So recently, while attending the Recreation Master Plan consultation alongside council staff and public and community leaders, I was reminded that Nakusp's greatest strength is not simply its recreation facilities or stunning natural surroundings, it's our community. So what we experience every day is a living legacy, past and present volunteers who built the foundation of this community for future generations. What I didn't realize, with 2026 proclaimed as the International Year of Volunteers for Sustainable Development, there could be no better time to recognize what volunteerism truly means to the Nakusp area. Our community, I'm just going to read a bit more because it's pretty dry. Our community was built and continues to thrive on the dedication of volunteers. Volunteerism is the heart of Nakusp. It is integral to our sustainable development, our recreation, and our long-term economic resilience. But when we speak about focusing on our strengths and assets, we must remember that many of those assets were first imagined, fundraised for, built, and sustained by volunteers. Once completed, most of these projects were entrusted to the village and became public assets. Assets that now require ongoing care, funding, and stewardship. And so when I was putting this together, I put here just to name a few, and I started putting it out there, and I actually posted it. And pretty well off the bat, there was a lot of people coming on and saying, "What about this? What about that?" Before I knew it, I kept adding and adding and adding, and I still didn't get them all. So if you have a chance to read it, it's amazing what our little community has done. It's something we should be really, really proud of. So just want to thank you all. If you get a chance to read it, read it. So many volunteers never expect recognition. They give quietly, they serve selflessly. So, and actually, I don't know if I can blow it up, but I'd have to get Councilor Edwards to help me. No, actually, it was kind of neat because this is a referendum in, can't remember what year. It was when they were doing I guess the first arena. It was decided to put a referendum to the public despite opposition from some local residents. The proposal that the village and district sports center be equipped with an artificial ice plant and auxiliary equipment was overwhelmingly approved by 80% of the votes, 78% of the votes of those cast ballots. With the passing of the referendum, the Kinsman pledged to install a cement slab, and work began immediately. A Vancouver firm was contacted, but their bid was for in excess of money available. Local Okanagan contractors were then hired to do the job. Once again, voluntary laborers were readily available and was the major factor in reducing contracting costs from the $18,000 originally quoted to $7,000. An additional $8,000 was spent on materials, pipes, chairs, reinforcing materials for the slab. So just probably 1970, 71. So anyway, can we get at that for that cheap? So the volunteers, we
Quite a few more zeros.
get it done. Anyway, that's all mine. Any questions? Council? Councilor Conwayson.
So I just wanted to first of all say that I, in my report, missed the master plan, and I did engage in 4 meetings, but I just wanted to thank Deputy Cody Jones for all of her hard work in creating several opportunities for user groups, youth, public, and council to engage in the process, as well as making sure that there was lots of advertising and putting out the surveys numerous times so people had the opportunity to engage. So thank you. The second thing I just want to say is thank you, Mayor. Volunteering can be a thankless job, and I appreciate that you put that post out there. The volunteers is the backbone of our community, and if every single person put in a single hour in, we'd have a different place that we're living in. So all of the hours that put in have already made an incredible difference. And I'm just really grateful that you put that out there.
Mainly, I was just to do for recreation before I did.
Before you knew it.
Anyway, all right. Any other questions? Oh, Councilor.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just when you were reading the cost of the arena floor and everything back in the 70s, I had noticed in Councilor McLaren-Co's report that Castlegar is adding an additional ice surface, just the ice, not the whole arena. It's $15 million. Put that out there.
We'll do it for a moment. All right, any other questions? All in favor? Very good. Bylaws. I1. Recommendation, the election and assent voting bylaw number 759/2026 be adopted as presented. Motion, Councilor McLaren Cole, seconded, Councilor Edwards. Any question? All in favor? Good. I2, the recommendation that officer positions establishment amendment bylaw number 760, 2026 be adopted as presented. Motion, Councilor Canoisan, seconded, Councilor McLaren Cole. Questions? All in favor? Carried. J1. Recommendation that the village of Nakusp support the regional district of Central Kootenay's application to the local government development approvals program, and that the RDCK be authorized to apply, receive, and manage the associated funding on behalf of the village of Nakusp. Motion being put forward, Councilor McLaren, seconded, Councilor Canoisan. Questions? Everybody had a chance to read it? It's like there's a decrease in it coming up later on in it. That's what I- There a chart here that shows,
Are you thinking about the transit?
oh, maybe I'm on the wrong one. Okay, I'm on the wrong one. Any other questions? All in favor? Sure. J2, Water Smart Action Update. Recommendation to report titled Village of Nakusp Water Smart Action Plan 2026-2030 be received for information. Can I motion from that forward? Councilor Edwards, seconded, Councilor McLaren Cole. Questions? Councilor McLaren Cole.
It's not a question, Mr. Mayor, but just through to staff, from last term to this term, I just appreciate the work that staff has done in various administrations to get to where we're at, and conservation is important, so, okay, thanks, guys.
Yes, thank you. That's quite, that started by CBT, and what year was that started? 2011, and CBT funded this. So, yeah, we've come a long ways, and I'm really proud that you're starting to find the leaks, and it's great. And yeah, very good report. Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. J3, flexible work arrangements for management policy A008. And it looks like you've got something for council for flexible work. Just kidding. Recommendations that the flexible work arrangements for management policy A008 be adopted as presented. Councilor Edwards, seconded. Councilor McLaren Cole. Questions? All in favor? Carried. Moving along. Information items. There are 6 information items. Recommendations that items K1 to K6 be received for information. Can a motion bring that forward? Councilor Canoisan, seconded. Councilor McLaren Cole. Any items council wishes to speak on? Councilor Canoisan,
No, thank you.
Councilor McLaren Cole.
Just quickly, RDCK board highlights K4. If anybody has questions, I'm happy to answer them as best I can. And then I mentioned it in my report, K6, K6A, we at UBCM, we did talk about pipeline valuation. So there is some advocacy going on, or there will be some advocacy going on that. And then K6B, which is the PST changes to local government. Sorry, in the latest provincial government, they have changed the PST regulations on certain things like professional services and other things, I think, which will kick in at some point this year. And I think the suggestion from the city of Abbotsford is that they give municipalities an exemption on paying that PST. So we have not discussed it at any other table, but I imagine because it's brand new, it will be coming, and I'm certain it will be a topic at UBCM convention in September.
Councilor Edwards.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
K5, this was brought to me on a forestry. This came on February 26th. Read request for official endorsement of forestry is a solution. So why this matters to our community? So many of the requests for action For this, the Forestry as a Solution initiative outlines 4 key priorities for immediate government action to strengthen the sector. Speed up access to economic wood by expediting permits and approvals for greater predictability, improve competitiveness and cost certainty by reducing administrative and regulatory burdens, fix BC timber sales, support First Nations partnerships. So request to council. We respectfully request that council consider a motion to officially endorse the Forestry as a Solution campaign. Item 2, encourage community members to visit forestryisolutions.com to sign the petition and send a letter to the MLA, the Minister of Forest, the Premier, and the official opposition forest critic. Item 3, support staff to share information about forestry as a solution through our community's official communications channels. So the petition, everybody can actually go on there, and if they wish to sign, they can. This may be a action items, officially endorse the Forestry as a Solution campaign. It's a motion. I'm not sure that's the only wording I thought to make that a motion. That make sense? All I have.
Are you wanting us to do all these things?
No, just if it mainly is asking to consider a motion. Well, I guess it supports all 3, doesn't it?
Mhm.
It's
Actually,
kind of-
it's
it's kind of a strange way of doing that.
it.
I'm not sure. I could see us reaching out to sign the, want to sign the petition. But officially endorse all 3, I'm not sure. I'll leave that with council, I'm not sure.
So it's something you could move into the action items if you'd like.
Council, okay with that? Yeah, thank you. And that's all I have for that. Any other questions? All in favor? Good. Okay, recommended items. K5 be moved to action item. I have a motion to bring that one forward. Councilor McLaren Cole, seconded. Councilor Edwards. Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. L1. It'll be L2, that one. L1, Sandon Hydroelectric Station, Silversmith Power and Light Corporation. Recommendation that staff be directed to provide a letter of support to Silversmith Power and Light Corporation. Have a motion to bring that forward. Councilor Denoisen, seconded. Councilor Edwards. Any questions on that? Everybody have a chance to read it? Councilor McLaren Cole?
We did at regional district, we did send a letter. I think we received the exact same, L1A is the same letter that the regional district received. And the board did provide a letter. Only, not even concern, but comment would be that we provide a letter of support, not specifically to their business, because I think that's probably inappropriate, but that we provide a letter that specifically says something along the lines of fairness in regulatory environment and full sale rates. I think that's the language that we used at RDCK. But I defer to staff maybe on that, if what's appropriate or not.
Through to staff, is that something we could copy off of?
Yeah, I would say it'd make more sense to go with the RDCK's example in that regard, because we don't want to be contravening section 25 of the community charter.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Actually, it's amazing if you ever had the chance to visit Sandon, the hydroelectric station. It's just amazing what they've done over the years and how they've been able to keep it going. And BC Hydro keeps reducing their rates, and it must be very frustrating. So, any other questions on that one? All in favor? Carried. L2, so that would be the
K5.
K5. Staff, I'm not sure how I could make a motion on that one.
Yes.
Like Noisen?
Is there a timeline on this? So I didn't see if there was a timeline.
No, it came in on the 26th.
I'm just wondering if we should defer it back to staff for further review.
Oh, we can't go yet.
Thank you so much.
And keep them in their seat.
Is that an idea? Like, I'm not sure how to word this.
You could do that, or we could also try to word it, because I think what you're trying to do here is that you basically that we endorse the forestry as the solution is basically the resolution. I mean, yeah, resolution. However, you know, like they have on here, like to encourage members to visit the forestry as a solution.com. So, you know, we could take a look and make sure this is a not-for-profit organization, right? Maybe it would make sense to have staff bring back a report. Just,
Yeah.
we want to make sure we're not endorsing something that's a for-profit organization and doesn't align with government values.
No, I agree with you. Thank you. Yeah.
That was basically, I just, a little more information. I probably would support it, but I don't want to say without looking into it a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll refer that back to staff to bring back forward a motion on that after they reword that. Any other questions? All in favor? Good. Notice a motion? Questions from the press or public? So again, 5 items, questions may be asked of any council member, but must be directed through the chair. Questions must be truly questions and not statements or opinions by the questionnaire. Questions must be related to meeting agenda topics. Chair will recognize the questionnaire and will direct questions to the councillor or staff member whom she feels it best to reply. Public inquiring are to identify first and last names along with general area of residence. So to the public, anybody online?
Recording in progress.
Online.
Questions to the public in the gallery? Oh, mhm.
I have a question. I have a question.
Well, I'm going here first in the gallery.
Okay.
Somebody had a question? Was that from the,
Yeah, I was going to speak. I don't know. It's just one of 20 people who,
okay,
I don't know.
okay, I'll take this one in the gallery first.
Okay, through the mayor.
Can you tell us your name? A lot of people online can't hear, don't know who you are.
Rosemary Hughes, and my question is, could you please repeat the motion that was made with regard to the old fire hall? I didn't quite hear it.
Motion, which was option 4, and that the village retain ownership of the old fire hall building and proceed with a transparent public call for proposals for occupancy in accordance with the village's market leasing policy, with lease terms not exceeding 5 years, ensuring proposals demonstrate community benefit and contribute to municipal building reserves.
There's a couple online.
Okay, let's go with online.
Does the individual who was asking earlier want to ask the question now online?
Yes, it's Joel LeBlanc here, live in Burton. I'm not super familiar with the council proceedings, so when you say that there's this question, it can be directed to anybody. It's about the Fire Hall Collective. When you say there's a motion put forward to keep the building, is that something now that goes back to the village staff and they have to make a decision on what to do with that based on this recommendation, or is this the decision final that the village is going to keep the building? Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah. So, yeah, so the village will retain the ownership of the building.
Got it. So this motion put forward is the decision. It's not something that goes back for further evaluation, for example.
Just some of the wording on the, what I call it, the proposal.
Pardon me?
And when it would start.
Okay. So at this point, the village won't consider any offers to purchase.
Not this time, no.
Okay. Just wanted to confirm. Thanks.
Thank you. Go ahead in the back there.
Joseph Hughes, couple of questions. So with this kind of change in procedure, even though the policy is in place, my first question is, will that be extended to all users of municipal assets? Because we have a lot of different relationships with longstanding community groups that use it. The community supports all of them, but what comes to mind just in the meeting is, you know, some of these are ridiculous, but like the archives, the seniors house, the hurling club, the group that uses the kitchen for hockey. You know, these are just long-standing established users that have not really faced competition because it's just been kind of irrelevant. And then I want to ask if we can discuss this policy before we move forward once again, because my concern is, for example, the Kinsman Society that I'm on the board of, and we need to look for renters. Now that puts us in a position where we say, hey, we'd like to rent this place, but by the way, it might be gone in 6 months. So to have that hard deadline of 5 years makes it really hard for community groups to have any consistency in planning. And so I would, again, this is asking to share that, you know, perhaps that means you renew or you address it in the 3rd year with a 5-year renewal, so that there's some continuity for these user groups, because we already struggle for volunteer retention. And also in that, I would ask the village to very clearly define their decision matrix for this, because these are historically nonprofit groups. So for-profit groups that want to offer value, then that puts it back into, this is a income generating decision versus a community benefit decision. And so we need to know what that decision is for the use of the facilities that volunteers build.
Thank you. So if I heard that right, for a 5-year term, it says here at the 3-year mark, the tenant would provide a report detailing the community benefits delivered and outlining plans for the next 2 years. And it says here, if council is satisfied, it may approve the renewal. However, after 5 years, a new competitive process must occur.
So can I ask then, since this is newly applying an existing policy in a different way, if, for example, the fire hall, whose current user were to present a proposal and you had another proposal, would they, my understanding from that is that they would be able to continue operating for at least 2 years going forward. And same with perhaps the Kinsman, if we knew that council decided to go in a different direction, that we would still have a remaining 2 years for plan, so that we can plan, you know, have some timing to know what we're going to do with our operations.
Thank you.
Just some clarity, if we can, before as we proceed.
Okay. So the clarity part, I'm probably the wrong one. If I need help on that one, or we can, this will be coming back to council, right? Go over.
Which part?
how this would look like. For other businesses or other people coming into, to make it more, make sure that it can make funding enough for reserves.
So it's incumbent on council to ensure that they're getting the best value for the use of all of their facilities. That's the reason for the proposal. So whether that be financial or socially, all of those things have to factor in. So we'd be bringing back a report to council on a scoring matrix on how that would be done. The reason for the 5-year aspect is that the community charter is quite clear that you cannot enter into agreement that basically is a debt to the community for a period of longer than 5 years without going to a referendum. So that's where the 5-year mark comes from. As for, there was also a question about leases and other organizations. There is a difference between a lease of a location. So these two buildings are leased, whereas the other locations are license of occupations. They share a common space. So for example, like the minor hockey at the arena, not really an exclusive lease, it's a license of occupation for that space. So they are actually treated differently than from leases. And that's within our policy already.
So how those organizations pay as well.
Yeah, and all those organizations pay as well.
Okay. Anyone else online?
And there was somebody, go ahead, Tanya.
Hi, everybody. Tanya from the Kinship. I guess I'm in Arrow Park, but I'm part of the Kinship Connection Society. I'm kind of new to this kind of stuff. So what does it mean by a competitive process? Does that mean it would go out for kind of like a bid to use the facility? And then if somebody else, the city council decides that, say, ABC has better proposal and is willing to provide rent to the village, so then the Kinship would then lose their ability to use that building then? Am I correct on that?
Close.
Did anybody hear me on that?
We did.
Okay.
Direct that to some. Not sure who I would direct that to. Yeah. That was the correct answer, what I said.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Councillor Canoisan.
Only just to say, and I wasn't sure if she said it or not, but potentially not have the space. If their proposal was the accepted proposal, then they would be able to continue.
But there still is a risk though, correct? That they could lose the space.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Carly Hughes from Nakusp. My question is, would the lease be awarded to the highest bidder monetarily, or would you be deciding on the greatest value to the community? And my other question is, would private enterprise be allowed to bid, or would they be restricted to nonprofits and charities?
Answer the question. It does open it up to probably all different users for sure. It could be private. But I think council would have to make the final decision and make sure that what is the best interest for the community.
So not necessarily the highest monetary value.
Yes. Councillor Canoisan.
Yeah, so I think the scoring matrix will take into account social good as well as financial contribution to reserves, etc. And all of that will be taken into account with the matrix.
So I did write something down here. Maybe I can read it. By retaining ownership and then opening up public proposal process, we allow a fair and competitive process that ensures the space continues to provide meaningful community services and benefits while protecting public resources and preparing for these buildings. So hope that helps. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just also wanted to reiterate something that the CAO said. I just had written this down. There are legislative requirements that require public assent to outside organizations occupying municipal properties at taxpayer expense for more than 5 years. Is that correct? So we're required to do this. We should have been doing it all along.
Thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Jim Fenton, I'd like to have some clarification on the officer position establishment amending bylaw. Is that the position of the fire chief, the administrator? It's not the hiring of the bylaw enforcement officer position? Thank you very much.
The answer.
What's that?
We didn't answer.
Oh, I heard that everybody was shaking their heads.
It was a nonverbal answer.
It was a non-verbal, like this here.
Sorry, can I respond to it though?
Sure.
Sorry, so it actually is for the corporate officer position, which is a statutory position within the community charter. Really the whole idea behind this bylaw is to allow for the corporate officer to be able to consolidate bylaws.
Yes. Any other questions? I just want to thank you all, and I just want to say most of you are from the old Fire Hall Collective here that I'm seeing, I believe. Just want to say that the OFC has made a valuable contribution to Nakusp culture and community life. So just want to say that. Thank you. I don't have any more. That's it. Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Items brought forward, or no spin camera. Items brought forward. And at 7:52 PM, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
Thank you very much.